Hey, it's Tpok, and I'm back in Katawa Shoujo. And we just finished our run. Nice run, Hisao, you really improved. Nice run. That's all I can hope for now, isn't it? Congratulations, Hisao. You're pathetic. I gotta change my attitude. Well, you know, I am pretty awesome. And yet I just keep saying things that I don't mean. Any second now, I'll be as good at hiding my problems as Emmy is. I like to think so. Why does she do this to me? Say something like that with such real affection in her voice that it makes my heart leap. She doesn't mean it. She can't. I must be doing a worse job than I thought, because Emmy peers closely at me. What's going on outside? Just a sec. Someone's mowing the lawn right now. I don't know why. Because Emmy peers closely at me. Hey, you feeling okay? Maybe we should get to the nurse, huh? Yeah, I'd hate to keel over on you. He looks a little shocked at my bitter tone. Don't say things like that. You've already done it once before, you know. Why does she act so affectionate? She doesn't really care. I thought she made that clear. But despite all of that, I found myself apologizing, even though I shouldn't have to. Even though she's probably just putting on an act. Sorry. Come on, let's see the nurse. I can't get myself to calm down the whole time. Every time it feels like I've gotten over what happened last night, Emmy does or says something that shows affection, and I'm back to the beginning. The image of her ending that conversation haunts me. It was like the final twist of the knife that left me feeling bereft of any hope that Emmy and I could be more than what we are. And what are we at this point? Little more than friends who happen to fuck. It's not like I don't enjoy the time I spend with her. Said so the other day myself. I very nearly didn't even bring anything up with her. Was just gonna hop on in there and let it ride, wasn't I? With this running through my head, I found myself in front of the nurse's office, still brooding as he checks out Emmy. Emmy comes bounding out of the door, gives me a kiss, then darts off to shower, I assume. Meanwhile, the nurse beckons me into his office to give me the ritual once over. Any problems today? Nah, I even pushed it a little harder today than I have in the past, and I seemed able to handle it. That's uncharacteristically risky coming from you, Hisao. You must have been hanging out with Emmy too much. She's rubbed off on you, and not necessarily in a good way. At the mention of Emmy's name, I can't help but frown unhappily in spite of my efforts at control. Well now, this is new, don't you think? Last I checked, your usual response to Emmy's name was a grin, not a frown. What exactly happened between you two? Because Emmy doesn't seem to be in on it, whatever it is. She looks more relaxed than I've ever seen her in weeks, which is unusual for this time of year. What do you mean by that? By what? For this time of year, I keep trying to figure out what's been bothering her, but she clams up as soon as I broach the subject. Then last night she said, let me guess, she won't tell you because she says she can't trust you. And now you're crushed because you thought that the two of you were so much more than she seems to think, right? More or less. How the heck do you know? That's how I'm the nurse. It's my job to know these things. Plus, I've known Emmy for long enough to know that she'd try to do something like this. It's just like her. He says this in a sort of half-affectionate, half-frustrated tone that would seem more appropriate if he had a cigarette dangling from his lips. As it is, he seems willing to make do with the pen. Look, you mind if I give you some advice? I'm gonna save. I'm taking advice, sure, why not? What was it Natao said yesterday? If you can't observe the thing, then observe what's around it. Worth a shot. The nurse knows Emmy better than I do, I'll wager. Sure, I'm open to suggestions. Honestly, I'm kind of lost. I've got no idea how to deal with this. I never would have guessed. He grins while he says this. I think he's kidding. Look, here's the deal. Emmy is stubborn. You should know that by now, and if you don't, then you're pretty unobservant, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I'm so grateful. Anyway, if she's decided that she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then she's not going to talk about what happened. Has she said anything about what's been bothering her, even a hint? Well, she did say she's been having nightmares about the accident. Really? You're making progress then. That's good. Well, I guess I can fill you in on this without violating my strict non-interference policy when it comes to Emmy making stupid decisions. The anniversary of her accident is coming up soon. She gets depressed around this time because it was a pretty traumatic event considering what she lost. That's the other thing. She acted like she lost more than just her legs. What happened? Whoa, nope, not going down there. You'll have to ask someone else about that because that's a whole can of worms I'm not about to open. If Emmy wants you to know, she'll tell you in her own time. You've just got to be patient, that's all. Why are you even helping me with all this? Because you're good for her. She trusts you even if you don't think she does. And you've got the best chance out of anyone at the school right now to help her through this time of year. She won't accept my help, but she might accept yours if you don't screw it up. So don't screw it up. Got it? I open my mouth to respond, but a knocking sound at the door interrupts me. Hey, you guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give us a second to get our pants back on. The door bursts open and Emmy glares knives at the nurse. Asshole. Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyway, what's up, Emmy? Forgot something? Try to make a more cheerful tone with her. No need to upset her. We, too, can play the everything's fine game. Actually, I forgot to ask you something. Oh, what's that? Do you want to come with me on a trip to my house? My mom's making dinner. I thought you might want to join us. Well, of course I accept. Emmy punches the nurse in the arm playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. I was talking to Hisao. Oh, how interesting. Meeting the parent. I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. The nurse raises an eyebrow, but says nothing. Great. I'll be in my room. Swing by after you shower and change into something clean, and we'll grab the bus. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. This time it's me who leans in for a quick kiss before darting off to my room. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer after all. Maybe Emmy's finally ready to open up a little. Or maybe she's just being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize for last night. Great. No, I can't decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. I settle for a combination of all three and hop in the shower. What day is it? Like day of the week day. Is it Saturday? I don't think I like riding on buses. Actually, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. They sway a lot and they smell funny. And you can feel every bump in the road. I'm really not looking forward to this. Plus, Emmy's legs keep making a clanking noise that draws the attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again, and she's got long socks drawn up on her prosthetic so they don't look so obviously false again. But that doesn't stop the odd look or two every time her legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat, and Emmy raises an eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares, either that or she doesn't even notice that people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten her fill of odd looks before. After a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm not just uncomfortable about the boss. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. The nurse said she trusts me, even if it doesn't look like it. But I'm not sure I can trust the nurse. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective of Emmy. And I'd be likely to say something to make her look good if someone else asks me about her. So he might just be doing that. Still, there was something about the way he seemed genuinely surprised that Emmy invited me along. Maybe last night's talk helped me out more than I think. But I'm still worried. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just as an acquaintance. Now it's going to be as Emmy's boyfriend, with everything that implies. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, an echo of that snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was so long ago that it might as well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have medication to help prevent things spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the second time today, I feel like I'll be able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now if only I could manage my relationship as well as I've managed my heart, I'd be in great shape. Well, we're here. Emmy grabs my hand as soon as we stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we've got a couple of blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. I follow Emmy down the street, watching her confident stride. She's setting a kind of quick pace for just a walk. I guess she's anxious to get there. So does your mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. The sudden and unprompted reference to her father catches me off guard. And from the look on Emmy's face, I'm sure she meant not to mention him. I think I've only ever heard her talk about him once. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from relief that I didn't ask about her father, or from finding my statement actually funny. Not at all, she's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know. She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, or so she says. Clearly, she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Oh. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous, Hisao? You shouldn't be, you know. It's not that big a deal. Just dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought a boyfriend home before? I confess that part of me dreads hearing the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this really is kind of a big deal after all. Oh good, now I feel twice as nervous. Though to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. Bolstered by this new thought, I've managed to calm down considerably by the time Emmy knocks on her front door. Hey, Mom, open up, we're here. The door swings open and Miss Irizaki stands grinning at her daughter. The grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never gonna get used to that. You know, people normally wait a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Ah, of course. Welcome home, dear, I've missed you. An affectionate hug later, we're inside. And it's only then that Emi's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. Ah, hello to you too, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. Nice to not have school to worry about for a little bit. Ah, yes, you've both finished up your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. It's certainly a weight off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. If this news is a surprise to Emi's mother, she doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Excuse me. Is that so? I'm very glad to hear that, Emi. You know I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emi's mother knows something I don't, or rather, she doesn't know that Emi's told me about the nightmares. It's interesting, being able to observe how Miss Ibarazaki covers for Emi. That protective instinct to make sure that I don't know any more than Emi's willing to tell me. I suppose Emi's got more in common with Quarks than I'd ever realized. Moves around fast, impossible to understand through direct observation, yet she has an effect on everyone she encounters. I wonder if Miss Ibarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or is she just keeping everything a secret from everyone? Yeah, it's not been as bad this year as in the past. Hisao helped me to stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut off contact outside of school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day. She told me more than once that the morning run was the only thing she looked forward to during exams. So maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, to hear that being around has helped even a little makes me feel a bit better. Emi's mother raises an eyebrow at this statement. Either she doesn't believe Emi, or she's as surprised as I am. Well, then it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I tell you to take care of my daughter, Hisao, but it looks like you're already doing that. Emi grins at this and seems to take pride in my having managed to ingratiate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever was, even before. I'd actually never thought of it that much, nor had I ever appreciated the humor in it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pick-up games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. So now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckle quietly, then realize that I've never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack and wound up at school here. It comes out so casually. There was a time that I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me at all. But now it just seems silly to care, especially in the company of Emi and her mother. If Emi can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. I think back to the track meet, where Emi declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact of her obvious loss has never seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in the wheelchair frustrated her, I know. But even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Emi has a way of bringing out the more active side in people. I've never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy dog eyes she gets, for starters. I'm not surprised she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't just as stubborn as she is, I'm sure that Emi would have gotten her out and running with you too. Oh, that reminds me, Rin says hello. I drift to the outer edges of the conversation again as we moved into the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and the spread that Emi's mom has produced is impressive. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end it here. I think it might be a little shorter than normal, but sorry about that. Yeah, things are starting to look up. I know Hisao was really depressed last time. But yeah, things are looking up, so it should all be good soon. Unless Hisao becomes random and asks about it, her father, which he should not do. He shouldn't do that. Unless... no. Unless it's brought up by them, he really shouldn't involve and try to, like, ask about it. He shouldn't ask about it, but if it comes up, then it's fine to talk about it, I think. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.